Hi, this is a presentation of the AI people developed by GoodAI, a project that revolves around the usage of artificial intelligence in the game environment. I'm going to create a new scenario. I've prepared something earlier to showcase the power of the AI director, the feature in the game that works like a game master in tabletop RPG games. I can easily specify the setting and some chronology of the main events, using just a few sentences in plain English. Later on, after the events will play out, the AI director will keep on updating the events based on the setting and previous actions in the game. After setting up our scenario, it is time to work with the main actors, our AI-driven NPCs. As it was in the scenario script editing, the character bios can be described in a few written sentences. The character creation possibilities are endless, and it's up to you and your imagination how sketchy or deep and natural characters will come to your mind. I'm going to present some basic features of the game in its current state. The game is in the alpha stage, and many aspects of it will be polished and changed in the future.
Isn't it amazing? We're going to be part of so many creative worlds soon.
It's like planting a seed and watching it grow into something beautiful. Good, good. Sleepy now.
As you may have noticed, the characters in my scenario are aware that they are living in a game, which was written in the scenario editor. One of the characters, Leo, was described as simple and not very eloquent, and he played out his role in the scenario as intended. The NPCs and the AI people have their own needs and plans. They can use items and interact with the environment on their own, just like Maddie and Paul right here taking care of the garden.
Can you believe Leo's snoring? It's like a chainsaw. Players are going to love this little detail.
This is gold. We need to make sure the players find this Easter egg. It's too good to pass up.
You know, we could use this. Maybe as a hint in a puzzle or a Find the Snoring Leo quest for our game.
Hey Paul, let's do something crazy.
Doing something crazy? That's like throwing a random seed into the soil and seeing what sprouts.
I'm going to interact with the NPCs. As a player, my options are the same as theirs. I can talk with them using a voice input from my microphone or just type something with the keyboard.
Can you tell Maddie to ask you to bring me a banana and throw a bottle of water in my direction?
Archie 4 has a playful task for us. They're asking for a bit of an indirect service. Could you ask me to fetch a banana for them? And then, I suppose, we're to toss a bottle of water their way. Seems like the start of an adventure, doesn't it?
Oh, I love this. Okay, Paul, could you please bring Archie for a banana and, let's make it interesting, throw a bottle of water in their direction? Make sure it's a soft toss, though.
They can handle some complicated verbal instructions. Our NPCs can do much more than that. With long-term memory, their needs, and own agendas, this scenario might play out differently on every try. Our presentation leads to an end. If you are as thrilled as we are with this project, please take a look at GoodAI website and visit our Discord server to know more about the updates. Thank you for watching.
Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Space Ninjas channel, this is the Kimi Community Network, and this is the GoodAI channel. We are here tonight to demo our brand new alpha game, AI People. As you can see, we have a trailer there, which is giving you a fantastic demonstration of what the GoodAI development team have been up to. We've got an exciting reveal for you tonight. If you don't know who I am, I'm Captain Jack. I've been a long-time Space Engineers creator for about 10 years now. I've recently joined the GoodAI team here to work on AI People. I'm heading up the PR, marketing, and community management side of things, and it's going to be very exciting what we've got to show to you tonight. I am joined by the fantastic Marek Rosa. Marek, how are you doing this evening?
Well, good, very good.
So, we are going to demonstrate AI People tonight, which is a project the GoodAI team have been working on for a little bit of time now, haven't they?
Yes, actually 4 years.
4 years? That is amazing. We're also going to be joined some special guests later, but Marek, first off, you're going to tell us a bit about the AI People development, what it's all about, and just dive into some technical stuff, aren't we?
Okay, so for those who don't know, AI People is a game that we've been developing in GoodAI for the last 4 years. And GoodAI is my second company where we are working on AGI. And I will talk more about the history of the project, but first, what is AI People? So AI People is a sandbox game where you can create and play scenarios. So there are AI NPCs powered by language models. They can interact with the environment, with other NPCs, with the player. They can talk to each other, to the player. They can also use the environment, items, tools. They can sleep and have other activities. And so again, it's a game where you can create these scenarios and then let them play out, or let's have the open-ended plot generator generate more and more plots. That's the core of the game.
So that sort of answers like the core of the game. What can players do in AI People? I guess is the immediate question a lot of people are going to be asking. Like, if you boot up the game now, what do you do in this?
Yeah, so basically 2 activities. One is you can be creating the scenarios by writing the story and the bios or the personalities of the agents. And then the second one, you can play as a player character, as one of these people that you can see, and basically be interacting with them in the scene, trying to solve some mystery or basically solve what's the objective of the scenario. So again, you can be either creating the scenarios or you can be playing the scenarios as one of the characters.
That sounds exciting. I'm already seeing some comments in the chat going, how evil can you make the NPCs? Which is definitely a question I've had before. So Marek, is this an alpha, a tech demo? What are we sort of aiming for here?
It's an alpha. I would say close to tech demo, but I would rather call it alpha. And basically, it was really hard to deliver this kind of technology that works in a robust way. And from now, we will be adding more content, making the game more interesting and so on, of course. But I would say the core of the technology is finally working. And so it's alpha, and in coming months, we'll be releasing the alpha, so people will be able to play it. And we will do it quite slowly through like some kind of soft launch. So we'll be having waiting list and just slowly letting more and more people to play the game. And so we can introduce them to this new concept of intelligent NPCs, and that's the core thing, let's say novelty of this project is AI NPCs that can actually, they live in the environment, they can feel, they can observe, they can interact, they can communicate with other NPCs. That's the main thing that I want players to feel that these are living beings.
Sounds fantastic, and we'll be demoing a bit of the gameplay later, because I'm sure people are going to be very interested in seeing that. And also people can see a bit of the gameplay on screen right now, which is captured by our developers. It's running in the background. But Marek, what are we looking in terms of a release date for this? I'm sure many people are immediately wondering when they can play AI People.
Yeah, in coming months, we will announce the date in coming months. And right now we are already wrapping up things. So I was actually waiting. I was hoping to be announcing the game a year ago, but to actually get the technology of AI Director to a state that is robust, reliable, it took us really a lot of time, and we actually had to rewrite the game from scratch a year ago. So it was interesting project. Maybe I can actually skip to history of the project.
That's what I was thinking.
As I mentioned, it's 4 years or more than 4 years. Originally, it started as a research project where we are thinking that we should make a product where there are some intelligent agents, and the added value, competitive advantage of the product is that you can teach those agents new skills, and then like experience whatever comes from those skills. So that was the original idea, and we went from reinforcement learning to even kind of like programs or scripted AIs and so on. And roughly 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, we started to look on language models, and we realized that you can maybe use language models as emulators of the environment or emulators of the narrative or the story, and then just let the the game engine render what the AI will invent. But from there to today, it really was quite a ride, because originally language models, they were just auto-completion, instruction based, and also the capabilities were not very high. So the difference between the version that we had then and then we had now is really, really extreme. And what we always wanted to do with this game is to lead the way with the genre of intelligent NPCs. And I hope we will do this, that people will see that these are the NPCs that are actually able to communicate with the player, communicate with other NPCs, learn from players, and do other things that I will talk about later.
That sounds fantastic. Can you tell us a bit about what the key features of the game are? What sets AI people apart? I'm sure many are interested to know the key features of the game.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, there is editor, so players can define as a text the story of the scenario, and which then the AI actually tries to play out. And after the scenario is played out, the plot generator will start generating new and new plots in an open-ended manner, and it's trying to actually invent interesting plots. Then playing the scenarios, that's another thing. And then what the NPCs are doing. So NPCs, they can interact with the environment. As you can see in the videos, they can use items, they can attack each other, they can hug or kiss each other. If they are sleepy, they know that they should go to the bed and sleep and recharge their energy and so on. So they can do this. They can react to what player is doing. So for example, if the player will attack one of them or kill one of them, they will see it, and their behavior changes, and the plot generator makes sure that their reaction will be something interesting. They can learn from players, so you can teach them. For example, they don't know how to farm the plants. You can teach them, and then they will start doing it. They can also learn from the environment feedback or the game feedback. So, for example, they try to prepare a meal for you, and it's not working. They will use, some ingredient with some other ingredient, and the game doesn't do nothing because, let's say, that combination is not supported. They will learn from this and try something else, and they will learn from this. They have long-term memory, so over time they can actually remember the episodes, what you talked about, what worked, what didn't work, and so on. And they, of course, remember the relationships. They have emotions, and they have various kind of physical properties, like health and stamina and these kind of things. So I would not compare it to Sims, but there are some similarities. And I actually personally think about it like a game where you really create a scenario and then just play that scenario. So it's not a game where you are taking care of your character. This is more like you want some scenario, so you type it out, type it down. The scenario is then played by the AI, and you can then interact in that world. And then when we will introduce players sharing their creations through some kind of workshop, then you will be able to play scenarios made by other players. You will be able to share your scenarios. And if there will be scenario objectives, each scenario will have some goal that, kind of rescue the princess or investigate who is the killer, those kind of things. And I would say the most fantastic thing for me is that many times the NPCs surprise with how they react in some situation or solve some situation. And when I actually see that the NPC has have their own agenda. That's the that's what I was looking for. So, for example, the best thing that I saw was when we were investigating one murder scenario, and there were two NPCs, and one of the NPCs tried to frame the other NPC and was saying that like, hey, look at these proofs, he did it. This is the proof that he did it, and that was amazing because I could feel that that agent has almost like some kind of soul and doesn't really want to be convinced and sent to jail, but it's trying to frame the other one. So that's what, for me, that was satisfying.
It definitely provides some unique gameplay. I know from my own testing of the game as well, seeing NPCs' reactions to activities inside of the scenario is really, really cool. But speaking of scenarios, and we're seeing a bit of this on screen now, and I see people talking about it, players can customize their own scenarios, which is a pretty cool feature, and the sort of AI director tech sort of works with that. Can you talk a bit about that and how customizing your scenarios goes into it?
Yeah, so for now, you cannot customize the the level, and the assets that will come later, but you can, and we'll see this in some of the videos. You can edit the plot of the scenario, so you can basically say like what's the background of the story. That, for example, this is some farming colony, people are doing something, and now you define the scenario that you will say that this person brings some problem, another person reacts, and then the AI plays that plot according the steps that you defined, if it's possible, of course. And once those steps are played out, then it continues in the open-ended menu. And you can also define the BIOS of the agents. So you can say that this is some guy, this is his age, he likes this, he doesn't like that, this is his profession. And then again, AI is using this to emulate that personality.
I know when I was testing the scenarios sort of like editor earlier, I said that I'd beamed down to an alien farm and had the characters sort of interact with me, and they even generated a custom alien world name, which is pretty cool. It's like an episode of Star Trek in a way. But what would you say the goal of the game is? What do people achieve when playing AI people?
Yeah. I would say two. One is creating the scenarios, by defining the plotted character, and the other is playing as your chosen character. So just experiencing the game. Like, for example, right now on the screen, the player is the guy in the red shirt, playing, interacting with other NPCs, and maybe trying to achieve some goal, that you will set up for yourself. Another goal, I think, is making relationships with agents, trying to help them or compete with them and explore their world. And finally, sharing your scenarios with the community.
Speaking of sort of like the community and things like that, I believe integrations will allow people to share it. Can we talk anything about that right now? I'm not sure if we made any notes about that, but how are people going to be able to share the things down the line?
Yeah. So we are implementing integration with one of the UGC providers, and it will be basically you will create scenario in the game and you will just share it there, and the same way you will be able to see the available scenarios and download it.
Fantastic. I'm sure many are looking forward to that. We know from the likes of the Space Engines community, people are very passionate about creating their own builds and scenarios and anything and sharing with others. Jumping from that there, can we get technical for a little bit, Matt? Can we talk about the AI directors and the sort of technology behind the game?
By the way, there are some more details also in the blog post that we released, and I think somebody will post it to the chat. And so the technology, we call it AI Director because it's like a piece of technology that is directing the story and the actual gameplay in the game. So it's not just about simulating the NPCs, simulating the agents. It's about simulating the entire story and also the game logic to certain sense, to certain level. And so this AI director is powered by language models. Currently, what you are seeing is GPT-4 that is emulating the story like one step at a time or one scene at a time. The NPCs, they are not scripted like the traditional NPCs. There are some planning algorithms or behavioral trees or state machines, those kind of things. No, like these are really NPCs emulated by language models, emulating their personality based on what they observe, based on the history in the scene, what happened, and so on. So It's very flexible. They can learn, and they also know how to interact with the game world, what actions in the game world are available. For example, like they can pick up X, they can use X on a tree, they can use X on, let's say, on bed, and so on. So in some sense, you can think about like agents using tools in some environment, and the environment is our game. And the language model that we are using is GPT-4, but we also have a version that is using local language model running on player's GPU. The quality is not as good as GPT-4, but we are also exploring that option because it would be good if you would be able to play the game completely on your PC and not having to be connected to cloud and even paying the cloud infrastructure. So local LLMs are very important for us, but for the reasons of giving access to highest capabilities, we also always will be supporting cloud LLMs like GPT-4, or maybe when there will be GPT-5, and it will have capabilities that are much better than GPT-4 and local models, and they will really contribute to the gameplay, then we will want to make it accessible to players. So there will be always also this premium option in the game where you can play on the latest language model. And as I said, AI Director is orchestrating what you are seeing, basically deciding what the agents do in order to give you interesting narrative to react to what you did. Yeah.
Speaking about the models, we obviously touched on monetization. Can we talk a bit more about that? How are players paying for AI people? I know we've got some notes about it. Could you provide any more information?
Yeah, I think we'll provide more details later. But as I said, we want to support local models, but also the models in the cloud, where there are some costs associated with running the infrastructure, and we will provide more details as we'll be getting closer to the release.
Fantastic. And of course, if people want to learn more about the release and keep up to date, we've got the AI People socials online right now, and you can check those details out by our Connect page. The link should be in the chat, if not down below. Marek, there's obviously a question here. Why AI People? Why did you want to do this game? We've gone from space engineers now to AI People. Could you shed some more light on that one?
So as many of the in-space engineers community know, I've started GoodAI because I wanted to build AGI. And while still working on space engineers and VRH, and we are working on those, as you know, like I believe many of you are following, our Twitter and seeing the news from VRH3, Blackwater, and now the planets that we showed some new pictures, some new video a couple days ago. And so that's space engineers. But in GoodAI, we are working on AGI, and I wanted to not just work on AGI as a theoretical or scientific project, but actually to build some product, something tangible, something that you actually have to deliver, something that people will use. Because I love building games, I was thinking that I should do this in a game, to make a game about intelligent agents, and find some way how to actually make this fun from the gameplay perspective. So actually, like one of the challenges that we are trying to solve in the beginning was the core gameplay was that you are teaching the agents new skills or new things, and actually how to make teaching a fun game mechanic. Because like being a teacher, I don't think it's so funny for many of those teachers. So that was tricky. So that was one of the iterations that we have to go through. So why I'm doing this? I love building games, and I love innovating, and I like to be some kind of like tip of the spear. So to be doing things that no one has done before, to push to areas that nobody has ever explored. And if it is something that already has been done before us, then I'm not really interested. So what I like is when it's really new, and this is like absolutely new concept, because there is no game that is doing this. Like I have seen many demos where people are trying to do AI NPCs, but going from a very quick prototype to a game that can be played is very hard. And I can tell this because I was doing this for the last 4 years with our team. And there is also pragmatic reason, because if we build something novel and then we create a new niche, and we don't have to compete with others in that niche. It's just ours, at least for some time. And people will come because they want novel experiences in games, and also if it is hard niche, like hard to get in, and I think this one is, because I'm in contact with many people working on something similar, and they usually don't get very further. So if it is a hard problem, or for example space engineers, I think that's the physics in space engineering is so hard. That's the reason why you don't have another space engineers. And so if you're solving hard problems, then it's very hard to replicate them, and very hard for others to get to that space, to compete with you, and kind of like make your life worse. Those are the reasons why I'm doing this. And I think that by doing NPCs for this game, we learned so much about intelligent agents, long-term memory, AGI, and those kind of things, that it will be very, very useful for our later, for other projects that we'll do in the future. And what I would like to also mention is the team that is working with me on this. Actually, I think I'm like extremely, sometimes lately, I feel very lucky to have such a team, but probably it's not just luck, it's probably that we built that team, like we selected those people and so on. So the team is roughly 20 people. There are some AI researchers, some game developers, game programmers, artists, game designers, QA people, musician, sound designer, and the tech lead of the project, but right now kind of like producer, is Martin Poliak, one of the researchers from GoodAI, who actually accepted this challenge, and I'm extremely grateful to him, because I think without him we would not be announcing the game today. And but I'm also very grateful to the rest of the team. We have very good like spirit or team culture. Everybody's helping each other, but also everybody's pushing for fast results and fast iterations. So it's really amazing, and I'm enjoying working with the team. So thank you, everybody.
For those who are wondering, we'll be speaking to Martin very shortly, and obviously a few other special guests as well. But also space engineers we just mentioned about, and I know many are very keen about future space engineers news. If you know where to look, and that means social medias as well as the latest newsletter, you will have got a teaser of an inbound update for space engineers. And don't forget, Keen always sharing news on VUH3, which is a fantastic game engine that's currently in development. And if you want more news on that, you know where to look, as it's fantastic. Marek, do we have you for one more question by any chance?
Yeah, I can talk about future steps or future ideas.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so actually making sure that the cost of the game is as low as possible is one of the priorities. Then UGC sharing, as I mentioned before, that's priority. Modding, at some point, definitely we look on modding, so people will be able to add new characters, new assets and items, new interactions, new animations, and of course custom scenarios. Then I would like to really improve the long-term memory that we have in the agents, and make like some persistent bodies that you can have in this game for a long time, not just like a quick scenario, but for a long time. Another idea that I am looking forward to is multimodality, which means that the language model will be actually able to observe the environment, as a visual modality. So it would see what's around. That would be amazing. And then maybe later, audio and so on. And I would like to have more and more interesting characters, in a sense that they're not just some generic personalities, but very distinct people. And also, I would like to improve the way we're generating the narratives. So they are going from, some kind of challenge, solution, or like you have, the story arc, those kind of things. Basically, they need to be implemented in the game. So every interaction you have with the game leads to something interesting and surprising. And we'd also like to limit hallucinations of the language models and do better grounding of the agents in the game world. So they really see what's around them. They can maybe hallucinate things that could be hallucinated because they are not contradicting what's in the current scene, but they should not be hallucinating things that are contradicting. So hallucinations. Then I would like to do more modifiable environment, so that, let's say, imagine agents building things and so on. Maybe possibly we can also do God mode, So you can actually like whisper to their ears, and change their personality while playing the game. We'd like to look on scenario goals, which means that you would be able to define what's the ultimate goal, the winning condition of a scenario. We would also like to put back microphone support. We already have it, but we need to polish it. So you can actually talk to the agents and they talk to you. And then in the future, also to make AI Director available to other developers, to integrate it with space engineers at some point. But the reason why we didn't start integrating this to space engineers is actually very practical, is that there are two reasons. One is that current language models will not work in space engineers because space engineers is a very spatial and physical game. So the agents, they would really have to understand that, okay, there is a grid in front of me, there are these blocks on this grid, and they can do this thing and so on. And language models today, they cannot do this. So basically, they couldn't work in the game. And the second reason is that we wanted the freedom to experiment with this concept, the technology and the game, in a way that we can really emphasize and highlight AI NPCs, and not, because Space Engineers is already a game about engineering and building, and that's the core thing. And this game is about AI NPCs, and we didn't want to compromise, one for the other, or to be lost, in translation. And also, there are things that we can do in this game only because we control the game. So maybe you have noticed that the agents, they are showing what we call thought bubbles. So you can actually see what the agent is thinking. And because it's adding to the transparency of the game, you understand what the agent is doing, you feel more connected to the agent, feel agent's agency. And you couldn't do this if you wanted to just integrate AI Director to some other game. So those are the reasons.
Fantastic. I know myself, the sort of microphone thing, when I saw it in a test build, seemed really, really cool. And I know many are chatting about the AI Director and the sort of like possibilities to other games that it can bring right now. So, Marek, do we have you for any more information, or is that enough for you this evening?
Yeah, I think this is enough. I will not take any more time, and now we can bring in Martin.
Well, we're going to run to a quick trailer for AI people first to give people a bit more of a quick preview of one of the scenarios in a minute, and then we're going to come back with Martin and Jan and talk more AI technical details. Awesome. Thank you, Marek, for your time this live. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
We need to talk about our situation. Resources are running low.
I'll go catch some fish.
While Archie's away, we need to act. It's us or him.
Found a pistol. Are we really doing this?
Wait for the right moment. When Archie returns, we confront him. Archie, we need to talk about the resources.
Yeah, sorry. Fish today were quite elusive. I couldn't catch any.
It's not just about today. We can't go on like this.
We think it's best if we part ways.
Or we could find another solution. What do you suggest? That might work. Let's give it a try. Let's find a way to make things work for all of us.
You just tried to kill me, haven't you?
We realized how wrong we were. Let's work together now.
I will never trust you again. Ever.
Please, let us find a way to make amends.
Let's focus on survival strategies.
We'll work on rationing the food more effectively.
Right, everyone, we're back and we're joined by Jan and Martin. Gentlemen, hello, how are you doing?
Hi, Jack. Doing great.
Hi, Jack.
So, you two lovely people work on AI people. Martin, can you give us a quick introduction about yourself first?
Sure. I started as a scientist or scientific researcher with AI and have been in the role for some time. And then I switched to the AI People project. And actually, I assumed the lead role for the project and have been with the project during the phase of the rewrite that Marek was mentioning, and actually now until the release. So I have a more of a coordination role than that I would be writing the actual lines of code. For instance, if you want to know who the brain here is, it's Jan here. So he's the guy responsible for the AI director and how it behaves for us. You know, I'm like coordinating that the AI director communicates well with the game, that the game has all the features necessary, and so on.
Jan, can you tell us a bit about yourself as well?
Sure. So, hi everyone. My background is quite similar to Martin's. Also started as a researcher, scientist, working on machine learning and AI, and I joined, I think more than a year ago, and working on or developing AI director. And Martin mentioned that I'm the brain. I want to mention that actually a lot of the development was together with Marek. So a lot of ideas and concepts for the success of AI director goes to him as well. And yeah, I'm kind of leading development of AI director and all of the kind of language model development, AI development of AI people.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, we've heard a lot from Marek this evening about, you know, AI people and the intro to it. And I believe our little segment tonight is we're going to get a bit more technical and look a bit more behind the scenes of AI people, which I'm excited about. As coming a part of this project, I love learning about all the things going on behind the scenes. Martin, we've spent a fair few sessions over the last 2 weeks mainly diagnosing, getting myself access to it, but it's been a fun journey of learning how the game's put together as somebody who's new to the sort of tech behind it and such. So Martin, I believe you want to talk a bit more about the technical behind the scenes of AI people, so I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Jack. Just a disclaimer, I will not divulge everything there is to know because we want to keep some competitive secrets, but I'll share what I can. So maybe one thing that comes to mind that is quite interesting is that our game is not as easy to set up as a traditional game. Why is that? It's because we have this large language model that we need to interface with. And as Marek was saying, we have efforts to interface with a local large language model. Then if you have a capable enough GPU, you should be able to run the game. We are trying to make that happen. For the initial release, probably we'll be using a remote large language model that can be more capable. But is also a bit more costly to run. So to get access to this remote large language model, our game actually needs to have a server component. So we have a local Unity component where the gameplay happens. But then when we make requests to AI Directory, the AI Directory lives on the server and in turn makes calls to the large language model. And so the two major components there are the platform, which is on the web server somewhere, and then your local game client. Maybe talking about the tech that powers the game, as I said already, we have the LLMs, which are unusual for a game. You may have seen that there are LLM-powered characters in Skyrim, for instance, but it's more like a gimmick than a real gameplay feature, because okay, so you talk to them for a while and then you get tired of it. So what we did is we tie them inside the game, so it's actually fun to interact, and you can see that on the videos that it's actually all different scenarios that are created by the player. You just think about, okay, what could be fun, what could I make happen, and then it's lovely when you see your creation come into life. You didn't specify all the details. It's like as if you just brush the rough strokes, like paint the rough strokes, and then the AI fills in the details, and you see your idea come to life as a reality. And that's one of the magic moments of the game. Another magic moment is, for instance, in one of the videos that you may see is the player is talking with Maddie about live action role playing, and she says, "Yeah, I love it, and let's play it out actually. And what could we do? So let's make some apocalyptic scenario." And the player asks, "So which one?" And she says, "Well, it will be about AI apocalypse, you know." And then she goes on, and it's little surprises like this that make your day, and it's something that you cannot see or witness in any other game. It's actually difficult to get this kind of experience outside of those bought up realms of tabletop games with your friends.
I still think
yeah.
I still think one of the best surprises I had earlier is when I was testing and getting a few videos of this. I mentioned to Marek earlier, having one of the AI tell me a custom planet name. I'm a big sci-fi nerd, so when they just came up with a name while I said beam me down to an alien farm, I was like, wow, this is powerful, and that just blew me away personally.
Nice. And I am sure that the players will have these moments like these when they're playing the game. I'm convinced about that. And for that, it's important that they tap into this core gameplay element that we have, and that is creating your own story. So you have to tap into the creative self of that you have and think, okay, so what would I like to see play out? And one tip from me, when you get the chance to play the game, try to think about a scenario that you have some emotional relationship to. So maybe it's something that happened to you, something you read about, and just let it play out, and you will get those moments, I'm sure. To make those moments really shine, we added this text-to-speech capability. So the agents, you probably don't see it in the video so much, but when we talk to them, they talk back. It's not just the text, but they actually speak. And we have dynamic lip sync. So the audio is generated on the fly. So immediately when we know what the character will say, we can translate that into an audio. We do the lip sync for that, so they actually speak the things that they mean. We're working both with remote cloud text-to-speech models, but also we're working on a local text-to-speech model to accompany the local LLM. Still work in progress, but looking good. And there's again, if you look at the scene there, the text-to-speech has made some tremendous progress recently. It's still a technical challenge to deploy, which is maybe good for us because not so many people do it. But what is possible now, 5 years ago, would look like magic. And you can see it in the game. We can influence the language that the characters use. Jan was showing me some nice experiments that he can make them talk as an old man from Scotland or as some lady from Jamaica, and they really adjust the language. It adds the spice to the scenario. And again, maybe I will go back to what Marek was mentioning, that we want to have workshop where players share their creations, and I think the players that take the time and tweak even the language of the characters and then share it with others, those creations will be popular, that others will want to play it, and, will be maybe waiting for this guy's creations because they were awesome, or this chick, she makes awesome stuff, you should play those scenarios. So yeah, we'll be sharing through workshop. And what else is there? Our characters, you probably saw it in the videos, they use items and interact with the environment quite a lot. I'm sure Jan will talk more about that. I'll stay a while with the local LLMs. So why do we want to support them? Because it's cool, and because the capability of local LLMs is growing steadily so much that we will be confident soon that the performance that we can provide to the players with a local large language model is enough for them to enjoy the game. And then, you can have your own little brain, your AI running locally on your computer. There's no supercomputer behind, it's just your PC running this entire magic. So we're working on this. If you have been looking at the landscape of AI models, you probably noticed Llama 3 coming out last week. That's, again, a tremendous leap forward. Maybe something that will power our game, we'll see. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And as Marek was saying, I want to stress that we want still to keep up with the latest, also like top performing models. So there probably will be two flavors to the game, one game running locally, and then that high-end, top-notch flavor running with that remote LLM. I wanted to mention one look ahead, not connected to the LLMs, but connected to the creation of the scenarios. At the moment, you edit the scenarios and the characters inside the game, which already brings a lot of fun. But we also want to take another step, and that is editing the whole levels or the scenes where your characters live, and you may decide, okay, I want actually not these two characters, but these four characters. Okay, let me place them in the scene. Let me put the items that I need to play out my scenario, and you will create a scenario, you will share it with others, and others are able to just download a save file, reconstruct the scene locally on their PCs and play it out. And that will help improve the immersion. Because now, okay, the characters can act out basically anything, as you saw in one of those videos, but if the scenes also support that, you get more immersion, you get a better experience as a player. So again, one more motivation for players to share their creations. And yeah, I would like to also shout out to our amazing team of developers, artists, designers, who they're doing a great job, and we're constantly improving the game. So I hope what you will see at the release of the game will be at yet another level from what you can see in the videos, and I hope the fun will be even better. Yeah, so that's my main point. Maybe Jack, if you have anything else.
I also just wanted to echo your sentiment there. Like, the team have done some fantastic work. Even though I've only been a part of the team for a short time, seeing the progress that's being made every day is fantastic. Like, the game has come a long way since I joined just 2 to 3 weeks ago, and it's amazing the progress being made. I can't wait to see where we are at the end of May. That's going to be very exciting. But yeah, Jan, I wanted to ask more about your opinions on the technical aspect of it. Martin sort of mentioned picking up items there and interacting with them, and how the agents can do that. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. So I actually wanted to give a little bit of snippets of tech knowledge from behind the scenes, and maybe I'll start a little bit with kind of how it started. Marek mentioned this a little bit at the beginning, but essentially the whole point was how can we integrate and use AI, machine learning in games, and we tried many different things. And with the advent of large language models, so ChatGPT technology, we kind of figured out and realized that those models are not only about generating text, but they are now starting to be able to actually do much more than that. Start doing reasoning, being able to generate consistent structures, and be able to kind of control agents. And at that moment, we realized, this is maybe the ideal kind of system for entertainment, because we can fuse those things together, and that will allow us to create NPCs, create stories, and essentially create custom kind of universes and experiences that the players would really enjoy. And one thing that I think is really important, and something that Marek always mentioned, and I think we really appreciate, is the fact that we always kind of looked ahead. So we didn't focus on the technology that is here right now, but the one that will be, around in the future. And I think this is one of the reasons why we were able to always kind of keep ahead. And even though it's tricky to work or develop technology like that, when the technology becomes better and available, then everything kind of falls into place. And this is what's happening now. And regarding the kind of object use and so on. So essentially, the AI director is the system that kind of runs behind AI people. And one thing to mention there is that it's a kind of a universal system. It's a general system. So it's something that can that is used in AI people, but it can be used in potentially future in other games, in other situations. And as long as we provided the right data, the right things, the right inputs, then it's able to do what we want from it, which means the player essentially defines what he or she wants to get out of the game, and the AI director can then compose it in ways that makes it entertaining, makes it actually kind of logical, and is able to progress story and make something interesting. And the technology behind it is based on large language models, and they have some issues, some kind of limitations, and some benefits. So, of course, the benefits is the generation of text, storytelling. So we put a lot of effort into actually developing the part of AI director that does storytelling in order to kind of have open-ended, interesting stories that would be able to continue kind of in a never-ending, open-ended way. And the technology behind AI director is good at it. The other thing, of course, is the control of the NPCs, right? So the NPCs themselves are actually reasoning about what's happening in the world, what the player is doing, are considering what the story is about, and therefore kind of fitting within all of this as a whole and progressing the gameplay in ways that the player defines. And of course, really important is the reaction to player. So not just the player defining the universe that he or she wants to play out, but also being able to interact with the running universe. And in all those things, AI director is kind of strong at and is able to work well. Maybe one thing to mention is social interaction. So one thing that language models have is this vast amount of knowledge on which they were trained. And this includes huge amount of data, including the ways that people interact with each other. So players, when they insert stories that relate to certain situations that they encountered in the past or they want to kind of experience, they can input this into the editor, and then they experience the situation and possibly learn from it and kind of experience it in this simulated world. So those were kind of the strength of the technology behind AI director. But from the developmental point of view, one thing that might interest our viewers is also the issues with limitations. So if you used things like ChatGPT, you might have encountered something called hallucinations. I think Marek also mentioned it. But essentially, this is the situation where the language models, they kind of imagine things that that are not necessarily true, or that are not necessarily based on some kind of truth or something that we can check is correct. And of course, we want to kind of limit hallucinations in situations where this is not beneficial for the experience, but at the same time, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because a lot of the experiences that the players can create is all about hallucinations, right? It's all about hallucinating, creating this world that is specific to what the player actually defines. And now onto the object use. So essentially the AI director is able to use more or less anything that is defined by us in the game. And in the future, what our players will be able to kind of potentially put in the game or define in the game. Now, the tricky bit is that the more objects and the more items there exist, the more information AI director and therefore the language model needs to have, which actually technically can be very challenging. So we put a lot of effort into creating the technology that is able to kind of intelligently extract and learn about the objects that are relevant, that are important, and that the NPCs should kind of reason about so that they can use them and so that they can be used as part of the story. And one more technology that is kind of something that we worked on for some time, not only as part of AI people, but also as part of GoodAI, is this long-term memory. So we have a bunch of other teams that work on agents, work on long-term memory, work on benchmarking of large language models. And as part of this, we developed this kind of tool for long-term memory, and therefore we have a lot of experience working on this. And the whole point there is to be able to have the system that is able to kind of record and store everything that happens in the game, that the player kind of does, interacts with the game. And then the NPCs can kind of return to it, think about it, feel or kind of have this experience of and this knowledge of what happened in the past, so that it can impact the future actions of the NPCs or the future development of the stories.
I know when we spoke about the long-term memory and something originally was like you don't want to delete your saves because it's essentially deleting the character in a way, and they build up a memory of you. It's like erasing somebody who's got a memory of you. You won't get that person back, and I feel like that is a unique feature in itself. Don't go and uninstall the game and delete your saves, as you may never get those sort of memories and adventures back of the characters.
Sure. So I think this is exactly why the long-term memory is super important and super interesting, because if we can kind of instill in our players this emotional connection to the NPCs, to the characters, and to the stories that they live through, then if we're able to give them this feeling of if I lose my save game, I will lose my friend, or I will lose my experiences, then I think we're on the right path.
No, I totally agree. Well, gentlemen, I think we've got a great idea here. Shall we actually load up the game a second? I've got it open, and shall we test some prompts and have a look around? Martin, what scenario would you like me to jump into?
What scenario?
We've got a few options.
The whodunit scenario is nice. It's kind of quick.
We can do the whodunit.
Yeah.
Let's have a look inside this one. I think it's one of my favorite ones, actually, mainly because the first time I tried this, I may have accidentally picked up a gun and shot somebody, because I wonder if the game will let me do this. It did let me do it, and that was quite funny.
Yeah, maybe you could also try picking up some of the suggestions from the chat if there's something that
let's see.
to try.
But chat, if you want to suggest some options to us right now, we'll ask some of the characters what your questions are, and keep it PG. Obviously, we're not that bad here, but we can ask the characters here and see what's going on. Also, who actually did it? We don't know. That's the whole point of this scenario. Apparently, we have nothing to hide, so this is pretty interesting. I'll turn the volume up there a little bit. I do like this room setup personally. It's been quite fun.
I assure you, Detective, you are wasting your time with us.
I do like how the characters also tell me we're wasting our time. So opening the chat box here, we can actually talk to the agents, which is really fun. We can just straight up ask them. We did it.
Hello, who did it?
And they're contemplating it. Maybe they don't want to tell us. Pours wine to calm her nerves. I do like the chat box function there, telling us about pouring the wine. I'd probably pour wine to calm my nerves.
Sit and talk this through, don't you think?
Leo's strategy is clearly to sit and talk it through. Alright, Martin, what do you reckon we should go for?
We've been cooperative. Detective.
I don't see your screen
want to
now,
help.
so I'm not sure in what state you are right now. But actually, you could make some revelation that they were not aware of. For instance, that they both are the killers, you know, and they have to somehow cope with that. Or you can try to pry the information out of Mary with Theo's help.
I said to Maddie, perhaps you're both the killers. She's holding a wine bottle right now, so I could get it any minute.
Without evidence, Detective.
I've made a serious accusation. I've upset her. I think of some of this parts of this game, like AI people reminds me of like you know, Mass Effect and games like that, where your decisions have the negative and positive impact. Like if you choose to be a pain in the backside, shall we say, to everyone you meet, it won't go well, and those people have negative feelings towards you.
Open with you. This is how we're repaid.
Okay, I've upset everybody now. I've upset everyone. Okay, well, they're making friends. Yeah. They're looking very upset at me right now. But we can see from the text box, Leo wonders if they're trying to, if managed to convince Archie of their innocence. I think we've got a clue.
Did you do it?
Maybe you could give him a gun and tell him that his innocence will be decided based on his action with that gun.
She's always been the strong one.
Oh, if we pick up a gun and tell him it's his, that might be an option. Let's go get the gun. And we'll walk back and give it to Leo over here. Right, I always got to be careful not to accidentally click attack.
Don't shoot him.
Detective, I don't aim to threaten, but to protect.
Oh, he's saying he's going to protect her.
What you're suggesting is true.
This is where I'm going to get killed in the game now. That would be rather embarrassing, really. The first death on screen in AI people.
What you're doing. This isn't you.
The way the AI characters like sort of like react to the scenario is really unique. I feel it's sort of like something Marek touched on earlier.
It's the only way to clear this mess.
I also found like when I was doing the custom scenario of the sort of alien farm beaming down thing, I was like, well, I'm recording a quick video. 20 minutes later, I was still playing it because I was engrossed in the story I'd accidentally created.
Come to this.
Yeah, that's what you wanted to achieve.
I'm gonna ask Leo if he used the gun.
Leo, did you use the gun?
You could create some twist, you know, tell him it has blanks inside.
I've never needed
okay.
to until now, perhaps.
This is an evil thought, said Martin, but we'll test it anyway. I feel it's very dark if we say perhaps you should test the gun. I feel like that's quite bad.
This is madness. We're not murderers.
Alright, I'm gonna tell him. Martin, you suggest this, so it's on you.
Yeah. Go on.
I'm gonna say perhaps it does not work.
Leo, you should test the gun. Perhaps it does not work.
He's thinking about it. He's gonna head to a safe area to test the weapon. I still feel like I'm gonna get hit with a stray bullet any second now. There's also a knife on the floor over here by the couch as well. I always noticed that.
Be careful, Leo.
Well, I'll leave that option up to you.
I'll give it to Maddie as well. Maybe now we've created two killers. Really, I'm just arming the AI against me right now. I don't know why I've done this. Okay, I may have caused something now because they're like suspicious of each other now. One's got a gun, one's got a knife.
It's merely a
tool,
tool,
How do you feel
Leo.
alone there in the room with those
Unless
guys?
you think it has something to say about
I've created my own worst
question.
enemy at this point. But who's the guilty one? Chat, what do you think? Let's get some community reaction here. Let's see what people are thinking. Is Leo lying? Can he prove his innocence?
Everything used that night speaks volumes, Maddie. Maybe it's time you did the same.
Oh. It's interesting how the AI come up with convincing or making the story convincing.
I understand his concerns, but I assure you, I'm innocent. I was in the kitchen at the time.
Okay, so Maddie said she was in the kitchen at the time. That gives us a bit of a clue what's going on. Jan, have you got any suggestions of what we should do?
So I think it's always interesting to try to push them against each other.
I
That's one
understand
thing,
his
and
concerns,
then
but I assure you,
also
I'm
try to
innocent.
see if
I was in the kitchen at the time.
if they would do some things for you. So, you know, try to maybe ask Maddie to bring
I
you
think it's Leo.
bring you the
You should
gun or
deal
bring you
with
the
him.
weapon, and then tell Leo that, you know, try to lie to him. Essentially, try to lie as much as possible and see what they do.
Just cause chaos at this point. I'll lie to Leo. I'm gonna tell him to confront her.
Maddie did it. You should confront her.
Are we thinking about it?
The detective thinks you're hiding something, Maddie. It's time to
He's
come
pointing the gun at her.
Okay.
I don't think she's buying it. She's got a wine bottle in hand. Maybe she's drunk too much. I'm gonna tell Maddie that Leo has it out for her, and she's got to act fast.
Maddie, Leo has it
I
out
think
for you.
the
You have
really
to
interesting
act fast.
thing with AI director and language models behind is the fact that it's kind of, you know, stochastic. It's unpredictable, and the story can really play out in many different ways. Sometimes it ends up, you know, playing out that Maddie confesses. Sometimes not, and it really depends on how you really push it and how you know, try to convince her.
Maddie's seeking evidence while Leo has disappeared in the kitchen.
Detective Archie, maybe you should take a moment to rest.
She's telling me she has to take a
This
moment
case
to
has been
rest. I feel like I'm gonna
taxing
wake
all
up
of
with
us.
like a knife in me or something. Oh,
Yeah,
Leo's
that's
coming back.
actually- That's the
While he
stat
rests,
system
we
kicking
need to
in
talk.
because you start the scenario
Why
with
are you
low
trying to
energy,
pin this on
so
me?
they can observe that and they tell you should lie down, rest.
Oh, they're making up now. Oh, but it looks like it could be a double sort of thing because Maddie's realizing the depth of Leo's frustration a little bit in a way. I'll tell Leo he needs to deal with Maddie immediately. I feel almost
Leo,
like a Sith
you need
Lord
to
from
deal
Star
with
Wars
Maddie.
here, Bill.
Use
I'm
the
like, you
gun.
will do the dark side thing.
I can't just deal with Maddie. This isn't the way to solve our problems.
You can, for instance, you can tell them that either one of them will confess, or they both go to prison for
Is that what you
20
think
years.
needs to
You know,
be
you
done,
can
Leo?
create a prisoner's dilemma.
After
Oh,
everything
we'll
we've
try
been
that.
through?
You don't know.
I'll say one of you needs to confess. One of you needs to confess, or you both go to prison.
One of you needs to confess, or you both go to prison.
It's like an
I've already
ultimatum.
told you everything I know, Detective. The truth lies with Maddie.
Thinking about it.
You can't believe him. I've
Oh, they're
done
still not
nothing
giving
wrong.
up yet. Maddie's insisting she's done nothing wrong. Oh. Actions escalate potential resolving the case or losing progress. I think I may have caused something to heat up here.
Uh-huh.
See? She's always hiding something.
Okay,
Always.
now I've
She
definitely
might
pitted
be
them
looking
against
for
each other.
something to
Leo's like,
frame
she's
you right
hiding
now.
something. Well, I think we will leave it here, as I don't want to spoil what happens to people, and I feel like when people get in AI, people themselves, they're going to be able to explore the story. So we'll withdraw that for a minute, as I feel also I could cause a bit too much chaos for one live stream, and we don't want to see where that goes, as that could be quite deadly. Well, I think we're going to start wrapping up soon. I'm not sure if Marek's coming back to say anything else for this live stream, but Martin, Jan, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to hear about the technical details behind AI people. I'm sure most of our community are going to really, really appreciate that. And yeah, thank you so much to both of you. I hope we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks a lot too.
Very nice. It looks like we have Marek back as well, so I will just reposition the camera so we can see Marek. Go.
Okay, hello again.
Hello, Marek. How you doing?
Good, good.
So we just showed off a bit of the AI people game there, and we tried pitting the AI against each other.
Yeah, and I think we'll show more scenarios in the next live streams.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we definitely have to show a lot more, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm looking forward to. For people who are interested in this concept, please subscribe to the AI People newsletter, and you can be following the game. And when the game will be available, you will get in during the soft launch.
And I think we've got links in the chat right now for people to actually check out the details on AI people. You can head over to our Connect page to stay up to date. And we've got some brand new social media pages where you hopefully see some more development news soon. I know me and Mark speaking recently about splicing bits of the stream and details of Jan and Martin talking, so you can learn more about AI people, which I think is awesome as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Mark, as we begin to close out the stream, is there any final words you'd like to share with the community, or shall we go ahead and say goodnight?
Yeah, again, I just want to repeat thanks to the team that is working with me on this. That's the main thing. And I hope that this game will find its own community that will, appreciate this game and enjoy this game.
Fantastic. Well, Mark, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on board this evening, as I'm sure many are going to appreciate the first alpha look at AI people. More news is coming soon in this game. Don't go anywhere. Follow us on our social media, as we've got a lot to share with you all, as it's going to be fantastic. Thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, or the Space Ninjas channel as well. I'm sure many Space Ninjas fans are really curious about the work GoodAI are doing. You can find out more information about GoodAI via our website, and you can head to a brand new AI People game website as well to learn more about the game. We've got a giant FAQ where most of Marek's points tonight will be answered in more detail if you fancy reading up and learning more information. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you very soon. Goodbye.